So let's get started with some basic Java programming. We're going to go ahead and open a new folder. I've created a folder here in my documents called Teaching. I've created a folder for this semester and a folder for kind of a hello example here. Go ahead and create a new folder for our new project here. We're going to call this one Hello World. Go ahead and select folder. This is the folder we'll be doing all our work in. Everything else. What we're going to go ahead and do is create a Java file. Hello world.java. Depending on what you have installed, you may have a warning there about the options for what you want to install. First things first, you need to make sure your code is commented. So we're going to go ahead and add in our starting here. Really, this isn't a full version, so I guess we can just put testing. And then a short description of what the program does. Now, what we've done here is we've set the author, we've set the version, and a short description for the file. I'm going to press Control S and save that file. Now we're going to go ahead and create a class. This is actually going to work this is going to be the class or the object that we're going to create in Java. And what's important to note here is that the name of the class needs to match the name of the file when we create it when you're first starting out. We're going to say hello world, match that. I'm going to open the braces. Now, when a class starts, when you run a Java application for the first time, it's going to look for a particular function to start execution when you run your Java program. And there is a special function that we're going to be using to do that, and that's called main. So main has some important properties. So first of all, it's public, meaning it's accessible to other areas of the application in memory space. Static means that it stays loaded the entire time the application is running. Void means that we're not actually doing any return types or special return types, which is important when you're dealing with different functions. And since main is a function, we're just saying we're not returning anything. Then main needs, since it's a special function, and it has a defined type as a parameter of strings, and they're an array of strings, and they are what are known as arguments. These are different arguments you would pass along your command line to your Java application to do various things. Right now we're going to keep it pretty simple, not pass anything, but we're just going to store that variable, have that already available. So the first thing we need to do is actually get some output. So we're going to do system out println. We're going to say hello world. And we're going to save that file again. And Control S to save. Go ahead and go to my integrated terminal here. What I'm going to do right here is type javac to make sure my Java compiler is working. Appears to be correct. I'll type javac, and here I'm going to type in the hello world.java. And everything appears to work correctly, and I see my hello world.class file. Next, I'm going to actually run my program, so I'm going to press Java hello world. And notice I'm not typing the file extension or anything else. I'm saying run this object, and you can see that there is my hello world output right there. So let's go ahead and show you if we make a minor change. I'm going to save again. Now, in order for me to see my change, if I run my application, you'll notice that change is not there. What I actually need to do is recompile my project. So I'm going to go ahead and recompile. And I'm pressing up on my keyboard here to go back to the previous one. So I'm going to go ahead and press enter. You'll notice there's no issues with my output right now. Go ahead and press Java. Hello, now you can see the changes. So as you're compiling, you'll basically make some subtle changes, compile, and then rerun it, make some subtle changes, compile and rerun it, and that process will spit out stuff. There might come a point in time where you want to generate some documentation for it. And if you've got your code comments and other things, and you'll probably want to add a comment for your class and for your function as well. What you can do is generate documentation for your project. You generate the file, the hello world.java. You can also specify a directory, which I recommend doing. I'm going to put this in docs, -d, and you press enter. And what it'll do is it'll read through your entire file and generate documentation, all the documentation for your particular package. And this documentation is just an overview of your class. It includes all the information you need. So that's a quick way for you to generate the documentation as well for your class if you create and use proper heading and commenting and everything else throughout your entire program. This is why comments are important, and I highly recommend that you create documentation for your project in your class and your objects that you're working with so that others know how to use your code when you create it. I hope this is helpful, and I'll see you next time.